Hi, on student today we will talk about lecture landscape architects. So this is one chapter tell you some of the relate field with architecture. Landscape architecture is one of the relate major with architecture. So you need to, if you're interested with the landscape architecture, you need to contact with some of the school. They have that program, because few of the university they didn't have this program. They have architecture, but landscape architecture is so limited, so you need to check on the school before you register. Today we'll talk about that. So now landscape architecture, we have many questions on there, and I post it on Canvas file also. So either you go with the Canvas file to look at the lecture for the landscape architecture, landscape architects, or you go with video clip from Happylife-truelife to watch for the lecture. Same thing with other lecture. I have a question review for you, and I hope that you answer the review question and email back to me before the weekend from that lecture date. For example, you have this lecture on the class schedule, it on Tuesday or Thursday. You can answer the question and email me on not later than Sunday from that week. So careful with that. You check on the class schedule to see what the due date for each of the lecture, and you allow to answer and email your question to me by the weekend from that due date. Okay. About the landscape, we can know a little bit about that. Landscape architect, they usually put that LARCH, that it design wider variety outside from the place, ranging from urban plaza, streetscape, waterfront to local community, state, or even in the national park. So if you see some design outside from the building or in the big center, around community center, around the national park, this belongs to landscape architecture. Landscape architecture, or the people working on landscape architecture, we call that the landscape architects. And if you want to become the landscape architects, you need to learn from the program from landscape architecture, and it takes maybe 4 years for that one. Landscape architect, they will create the community for on around the building, maybe the residential gardens or community park, playground, or some headquarters from sport fields. So everywhere around the building is belong to landscape architecture, and they can restore the meadows, they can do the urban grids, or they can do the remediate toxic brownfields. So that means the big area work outside. I give you a few examples from you can see more good feel for landscape architecture. This is one national park in the Singapore. You can see that they have the lake right here, and after that they create the landscape around. You know that Singapore is a small country in Asia, but they have very good technology, and they have I think that's very high level in education. This one, some example from, you can see the landscape in Japan. I like the design of this one. They have the curve from wood, and this can take the shadow. You can walk under there, and especially on the season, you can see the flower, they blossom very beautiful. So you can walk in here with the group or with another people in here, so beautiful. This is the wetland on Venezuela. I remember I have shown you about the wetland In one of the lecture before, wetland is some kind like the land you cannot, because they have very soft the crowd, so that's why it's hard to design something like the big one on the wetland. So basically you can design for park, for some kind from not really the big buildings. So the wetland is here, they design for the park, not the building in there, so you can enjoy the view around the wetland. This is one example from the landscape, so amazing. You can see that few countries they do this one. However, this one takes time to do the maintenance for that one, for keep like that. Beautiful, however, it depends on the goal you design. So it takes time for you can maintenance look like this, or you can create something to support for this design. This one design on United Arab Emirates. You can see that they have the driveway look like the circle, and they can design around look like this. It looks like the spiral, and after that they have landscape around that to save the space between them. And I think this is very good design also. So you can see the parking right here. They can have the landscape between them, and after that they have the spiral design look like this for the parking around and up down. You can try here, and in the center they use for the landscape, and the walking side is also nice design for the landscape. This one is Austria, and the one they have, they call that the Rapski fountain. I think that's one of the girl or the ladies, if they like to use the jewelry, and Rapski is one of the famous name. They can select the jewel from that one. I stopped here 2005 with my family, and this is the picture from we take the picture in front of that one, my family. So you can see that in here you can go to inside, and they lead you to go inside from the building on the dash, and you can see a lot of beautiful jewelry, and it's so beautiful with very good price. And if you look at this, it's exactly like diamond, but it's not the real diamond. It's very beautiful, and you can come inside to enjoy how they make it, and the products they sell for the visitor, and many things you can see over there. This is another design. You can see that is very cool for to make the water font in the center, so all of the visitor can enjoy, especially the children. They can play with the water around, and it's very nice design. You look at this, it's the curve and spiral to another curve, and the water coming on the top one go down, or in the bottom one they hear the fountain up. So it make for very good sight for the people enjoy that. This is one of design, the new one for in the park and close with the beach or the lake. But this one I don't think it's the good one with myself, because I think this is the wood, and the edge from the wood is so sharp, look like this. I don't think it's good if some people jump. This is the look like the plastic, so you can jump on here, and when you jump on there, maybe you didn't control the speed, and after that you can hit on here. So I think that is not really good design. Even this one is the new idea from for children. Okay, go back with the lecture. You can see that landscape architecture, or landscape architecture society, American Society of Landscape Architects, they call that ASLA, can be my question on plan fill in the blank. Like I tell you before, or I will share with you later before we go to the quiz. With quiz we have 3 parts. The first of them is fill in the blank. For example, I ask you ASLA, and I give you one of the words, and maybe a high fill of the blank. You need to fill it in. For example, I say American society, and I give you the dash line. You need to fill the rest of them. For example, it's missing landscape or it's missing architects. You need to fill it in. This is the fill in the blank question. So now, ASLA is founded in 1899, and it is the National Professional Association representing landscape architects. It begins just 11 members, and after that it grew up to more than 15,000 on a few years later. And right now they have 49 chapters. They have on 50 states, US territory, and 62 countries around the world. So they have totally 72 children chapters. Membership is open to all of the landscape architects, also for the student and all the people interested in professional issues, value, and the goals. ASLA also promotes to the professional advance practice through education, communication, and fellowship. In addition, stewardship of the land has always served for the central roles in the mission to the ASLA and is integral for elements from on outreach. So that's why right now you can see ASLA, they have on of national from US and another territory, for example Canada, enjoy with that association. So they work to increase the public awareness of and appreciation for the professional landscape architecture and its contribution to the quality of the life. That's their job. They also advocate for the professional at the local, state, and national levels on the public. So that's why their project is a lot of bigger than architecture. They usually do some kind of the big one and involve the licensure to environment, sustainable design, liable community service, transportation, or some kind of historic preservation. They can do the stormwater management issue and amongst of them. Everything information about ASLA, you can go to the website. This is www.asla.org, and you can get information, service, professional or general public, and information on there. You also follow the landscape architect on magazine, Form Finder, online directory of the landscape architect, email letter, ASLE annual meeting, and on up announcement from that. So we have another one, they call it the Landscape Architects Technical Information Service, LATIS, the Job Link Online Employment Listing, the ASLA Honor Award Program, and many more is on there. So ASLE is also the voice from the landscape architecture professional. The leading from American landscape architect HM Corner. Field operation led a proposed new design for public square 10-acre space. Like I told you, landscape is covered the big projects. It did 10-acre space, and this project approved 2007, and the cost around 35 millions for one project. 35 million, so huge. For public square in the center from the big city. So a lot of landscape architecture projects is in the big city, and they work for community. Landscape architects have to design, to plan area, for example the golf course, the shopping center, college campus, residential development, so on. That's mean around from that's all building. They collaborate with architects, engineers to ensure that the client design wishes comply with environmental regulation and the site geology. I go with few more example about the landscape. So you can see that's on Cleveland. You can see a lot of building around, and they create the landscape between them with the the driveway, and after that some of the walk side for all of the people enjoy on of the landscape in the center and the building around. They can share together on that space. This is another wetland in Singapore. They create for the national gardens. Instead of the building the wetland, they cannot do that, so that's why they usually save the space for the park, national park. This is the landscape you can see very regular in California residential. You can see the fire outside for the barbecue outside, or some of the landscape outside look like this. It's very regular in the West Coast. But just to mention with you, if you had the pool in the backyard, just thinking about some of the landscape you use it, the best way is decorate or plant some kind like the forever green tree, because if you design some kind like seasonal tree like this, it will drop the leaves on the pool and you need to clean up many times. So that's why it take the cost from the cleaning from that one. So before you design something for close with the pool, especially in the swimming pool or the spa, you're thinking about the landscape around. Don't use a lot of seasonal blossom flower or some kind like seasonal tree around or close with the pool. It's make you very busy later to clean up everything. This is another lake, national lake, I guess. It's a national garden in Singapore, and you can see that they save the time to clean up the grass by put a lot of thing on the sidewalk, so that's why you don't need to take care from the grass or something grow from the sidewalk. That to save the time, save the money. This is one example from the landscape. You see this one is the lake or the river, and I see the house, I guess I see from Southeast Asia, because they use the roof for some kind like the palm tree or some kind of tree, so that's why the leaves are the palm, I think the palm leaf on the roof one, and you see on the wall look like the bamboo. So this house, I guess this from the village, Asian village, and the landscape outside, it's look like this, very natural. And on of the traffic or some of behind, they use the boat for to go over from place to place in the river or in the lake. This is one of the house you can see in the East Coast, and this one from the Europe. But the landscape is so beautiful for both of them. This one resort, and you can see that they use lots of palm tree to decorate for the landscape around, and different time for the planting. So it depends on the area you plan to design for the landscape. We have many different types from the planting. You can select for fix with the one you want to design. Basically we have many different ones, but you can look at which one you can use forever, or you just want to use for the season. For example, you like to decorate to plan for the season, you can use different one and easy to change for each of the season. But the other one, if you want something to stay forever, you don't need to take time to clean up or to change for season to season. You can use for the forever green trees, and usually they can let the conifer for the trees in the top look like this, look like Christmas tree. And you can see on the Yellowstone from kind of the tree that is forever green tree, because you don't need to take time to replace, or you need to change for season to the season. But a lot of residential, they like to use for the landscape look like the flower, they can change for every season. So it depends on the purpose from the design. You can select the different kind from the planning on the projects. This is one of typical star. You can see very easy to see that belong to Japanese, I guess. They use a lot of the gardens, and after that, sorry, it's make noise. But basically the design, they have the landscape. They usually to design a lot in the backyard for the flower with the small one on the stone, and after that some kind like the small tank for you can stay there, enjoy the view. Or inside from the garden, they used to have to feed the corn fish, I think, and they have a lot design like this in the Japanese style. They have a lot of the wood bench, or the natural one they set up around the garden. So you can see that this style, this is from Japanese one, and right now I think that's Asia people, they also have similar like this on the design. This is some another landscape design. You can see that people select very different flower to design and decorate for the park like this. So you can see that very nice one also. This is Japanese style again. They have the big lake, and they do some kind of the wood bridge around from the garden, and after that cherry flower blossom. It's on March, I guess, and it's so beautiful because they have many different kinds from this flower. This is another landscape, but I think that is bit natural, and you can see the big tree right here is almost collapse, and I think it's the old one, and this one it's make the view in natural. However, it's careful. It can be makes the damage anytime for the people walking there. So this is another one. You can see the landscape. Sometimes you don't need to plant this, and just it's natural, and you combine with the natural, and some of the one you plant this can make very beautiful view. This one you can see very easy and anywhere. You just buy the flower and decorate in the house, in front of the house, or in the backyard. Same thing with this one. You can see a lot in some kind of hotel or the hotel, and you can see, or apartment, they can set up like this for the people enjoy the view outside. This one is one of the fountain. They design many layers from the top go to the mountain, the fountain like this, the fountain, so the water can drop down to the fountain like this, and it's very far from here. You can see that's many levels before they go to the fountain. This one is one of the projects. They do a lot of the class, and you can see that they hanging up to the people can walk on there, and the class on there. So very technology for the people can enjoy from the park, many level for family, children can enjoy that, and they use a lot of landscapes around with the technology class and the church roof. This is one new design. So now go back with lecture how can become a landscape architect. We have many steps to follow that. The first one, you need to select the university which one they have the program on landscape architecture. You need to search and to get that information with the link. Step 2, you need to understand that the bachelor degree only allow for entry into the field. So you need to concern with your counselor during your early graduate for the years about the way for you can prepare for graduate school. That means that it just allow for the bachelor degree only allow for the entry level. So that's why you need to contact with the counselor for make sure before you prepare for graduate school. Step 3, become two proficiency in AutoCAD and CAD, CAD, computer aid design, video simulation, and geographics, information system technology. Step 4, you spend at least one summer as intern for landscape architecture firm, and after that get familiar with everything expect to the landscape design and associate with such a garden fountain, garden themes, and more. Continue with that. You go to step 5 to find out your state. You want a 45 that require for landscape architect to be licensed. Remember, licensed. That means after you graduate from bachelor degree, you need to get some exam for to be licensed. And 45 of the state, they just accept the landscape architect with the license. So after take college degree and one of the 4-year experience, you can take the landscape architecture registration exam. They call that LARE. That's the exam for architecture, landscape architecture. Step number 6, you need to check with your state for each one of the 18 that require for landscape architect to pass the state examination apart from LARE. You need to check with the state you want to work it for. Step 7, you need to be prepared for working with the title of intern landscape architects and apprentice until you receive your license. That means you need to prepare for intern working before you get the license. All of your work will be supervised by licensed architect. That means you work below with you work together with the people with the license, and you work look like intern, and after that you need to take the exam for the license. That's another the 7 step you want to study on architecture, landscape architecture, and graduate from that one, how kind of the work on. So continue with that. Right now I share with you more example from the landscape, which one I think that interesting, and you can learn some. This one for residential in the backyard. If you do elevation in the backyard or the front yard, that means you do the step up. You can design some kind of many level from the yard. It's make the area look like bigger. However, it's not bigger. But you look at the when you look at this, look like bigger. When you do elevation, jump from this level to another level higher, and you feel like this. This is another interesting design. If you can see, that's the house right here, and they have many steps down to one of the fountain, and you can see right here. So basically this is some interesting design. It depends on people like or not interesting for people. So that's why it can be with you, can be with me, maybe not. This is one of design you can see very regular for the people not have the time to take care of the yard. So they use some kind like the gravel, the small stone like this, for make sure that you don't need to take care of the grass over or the wild grass in the yard or the sidewalk. This one, another interesting design. If you look at the left side, you can see that's on the natural, look like the forest and the fountain, and on the top with the mountain. But on the right side, they do some the landscape design with some kind look like slope step up, and you can see that they have the river and the grass when they design like this for different looking if you compare both sides. This is one more time, you can see the design. They have focus in the center, and another building around can share that space. So if you look at this, on up around building so high, it can be in the center from the city, and you can see that the big yard right here, they can use for the people can share together from this side to another side, so that's why they can use it. This is one of residential design. If you look at this, they design some kind like very big awning even, and after that they can take the shadow to plant the flower in there. Beside of that, they use the fence and they plant some of the the plants over there, so it's make the weather better, and you look at the view is so natural when you go outside from the yard. This is another example. Forget about this one, but look at this one. You can see this is the resource center, and they design, I think this one from Asia, and you can see that's on the top one. They design look like the open room, and it's filled in the bamboo tree around. And after that, if you go to step down, you can see one of the plates, and they hang on the ceiling, on the top ceiling. So you can see that this is look like one space for the people can enjoy under the top one. Is so interesting, and around here is a lot of landscape, but natural. So that's why you look at the view is so natural and interesting. This one you can see on South Carolina. They have the hotel, but inside from the hotel you can see a lot of the long, rich, small one like this. They make some feel like natural, and they make something you can walk be inside from that one. It make very interesting, and the landscape outside look like very natural. One more time, when you plan to design some landscape with the seasonal tree, careful, because it's just beautiful on that season, but after that you need to take time to clean up everything around. So beautiful, and spend time to do that, to clean up after the leaf drop in there. Same thing with this one. This is the good view from, I think that's Bali. If you look at this around mountain, and very foggy on there on the sky, look like very natural. This is I guess this is some kind like the resort center, and it's beautiful also, quiet but beautiful. And this one is some of the building in the East Coast. If you see some big building, and after that you see a lot of tree around, very big one. If you look at the root one like this. So the first one is look the good view. However, this one you need to take care, because the root can be affected the sidewalk and something like the sewage system under the building. So with this one, many things you need to concern with the maintenance. This one very nice view from one of the island, and look at the the boat right here. I guess that's a Halong Bay, I think so. And this is the other side, so you can the boats can go through for this one. Another thing you can see on this one is from Sapa, and in the north from Vietnam. And you can see in the morning you can see so foggy city. It's so high, I think that few thousand feet up to the sea, so that's why you can see that's the weather. It's so cold over there in the morning, and you see look like you in the mountain, and it's very cold there. This is another famous city from Vietnam. This is Dallas. The name is Dallas, and I think that's a very nice city also. And the visitor, they like to stop on that city because the weather, it look like on here, that means so cold, but I mean cool. So that's why interesting view if you stop by there. This is the one, Halong Bay, to see the, I think that's the A wonder of the world. It's just the South like 2016. And you can see that you can walk around this here. This is the big island. They have you can walk around here, and you can up to the mountain. I'm stopped there. I visit there for 2005, and I walk around here, go to the top of the mountain. It's so beautiful, and I wish I can be back again soon. So if you have time, and if you have some very good condition, you can visit some of the Asian country. It's not really big country, but it's a lot of natural view and natural, everything about the natural one. They just add the new landscape. However, the most of them is natural, so you can enjoy the view from there. This is Niagara Falls from Canada. You can see this is the big Niagara Falls. However, the main thing, I don't want to talk about the falls, but I talk about the landscape around that. You look at this, the people walking here, and when I stopped right there, I saw that they decorate for the landscape is very beautiful around that one. So Canada is not far from us, so if you have the time, travel there, learn about some of the natural one. That's a Niagara Falls, and after that you can see how they design for the landscape and why a lot of visitors coming every day to visit the view. Not just because it's natural, but it's because they have some kind like organized landscape architecture around. This is some of the view from natural house, and if you see the slope from the roof, you can guess this is from the East Coast, and it's beautiful. However, I thinking we need to have a lot of time to take care about this one. When the leaf is drop on the roof one. This is, you know, that is very famous view from Europe, and I don't think we have some picture look like this. I stopped there, I think it's many years ago, but I didn't have patience with the view look like this, except I go the cruise around the town, and after that I take few picture, but not the tree look like this. Okay, beside of the landscape, for to make your projects beautiful around, we can try to plant some kind like the fruit tree, which one is very nice view and also can support for you some kind from the food one. So this is one of them, so beautiful, and I think that we can, get a lot of money from there. Okay, so finally on this chapter, I have a question for you to review. Try to email for me the answer, and email for me before the weekend. That means the weekend from that 2 days. If you look at the last schedule, it's a 2 day for this lecture, and I hope that you can answer on the question and return for me before the weekend coming. Okay, if you have any question, you can email me at events@cerritos.edu. And thank you for watching video, and I hope that you need to go over with all of the lecture. I try to post this on Canvas files and Canvas assignment. Also, you can stop by to visit my channel at Happylife-truelife.youtube. I post on of the chapter over there, so you can see both on reading, and the second one you can watch on my video clip for make sure you get more knowledge about the major. Okay, so the lecture source for Architecture 110, you can go number 1 in the Canvas from the school, and you go with the files, and I post everything on there for you. The second one is the textbook. The textbook is Architect from Roger Lewis, the 3rd edition, and on the first lecture, the first class, I show you the book, the book, so that's why you can follow that to get order from the book. I just mentioned with you, a few students email for me, ask me about they should buy the book or not. I confirm with you that yes, definitely. The reason, because on the lecture I just cover which one I want the main point with me, and I share with you about that. However, on the quiz, I have a lot of questions in the book, so if you not order the books, I don't think you do very good on the quiz. With all of my lecture is cover maybe 70% from all of the quiz, so that's why 30 up to 40 more percent is on the book. So that's why, and the book I guess is around $40. So with the course, I think that's you can order the book, or you can go to Amazon to get the second one, maybe cheaper, around 20-25, something like that. But it's help you for you can get the best grade in this course. Okay, one more time, if you have any question, you can email me at event@cerritos.eu. But I strongly recommend you email me on the Canvas inbox, because many students got the problem when they send me their email. The reason, because Canvas inbox is the one everyone send the email, and I got that 100%. But the other one, I don't know. Some guys got the problem. Okay, so tomorrow is fall semester start, but we are on Tuesday and Thursday. One more time, for your convenience, I change for remote class until online class, so you don't need to log in on time on Tuesday and Thursday, but you must reading on of the lecture, follow my instruction on the last schedule, and after that email me your answer on time, please. And everything I need to announce, I will do that on Canvas. Also, I have the time for you to do that. Try to do it the best. Thank you and see you next time.